Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we have a source material that is going to tell you something, well, pretty outrageous.
I think outrageous is a good word for it.
Yeah, it basically says, forget your past trauma, your unhappiness right now. That's a choice.
Yeah.
And you can achieve, like, total freedom and happiness instantly.
It sounds like some kind of radical self-help, but these insights actually come from deep within the world of psychology, specifically from the school of thought founded by Alfred Adler.
Adler. He's often called the forgotten third giant, right? After Freud and Jung.
Exactly. But Adler is, in many ways, the original anti-Freud.
So if Freud was all about historical determinism, the darkness of the past shaping us,
Yeah.
Adler is looking straight ahead.
Completely.
Our mission today is to really get into his answer to that huge philosophical question, how can one be happy? And the roadmap he gives is surprisingly simple, but wow, it requires courage.
And it all begins by accepting this core concept from Adler, which is that we don't live in an objective world. Not really. We live in a subjective world that we ourselves have given meaning to.
I love the analogy they use for this, the 60-degree well water.
Oh, it's perfect.
Right. So objectively, the water is 60 degrees. Doesn't matter if it's July or January. But if you drink that water in the middle of a hot summer, it feels wonderfully cool.
But in the dead of winter, it feels warm.
Exactly. The external fact is fixed, but the meaning we give it, our subjective reality, that's what dictates how we feel and act.
And the implications of that shift are just monumental. It completely changes how we look at our own history.
Okay, so let's get to the most controversial part right away. We are all, trained to think in terms of cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
Your situation now is the result of past events, your childhood, trauma.
That's classic Freudian thinking. It's called etiology.
And Adler just rejects it entirely.
He flips the script from cause to goal. Instead of asking what caused your behavior, we should be asking what goal does your behavior serve right now?
And his radical claim is that people actually choose their lifestyle. They even choose to be unhappy.
Yes, because being unhappy serves a specific present goal.
Hold on. I mean, that sounds incredibly harsh. It sounds a bit like victim blaming. Are we really saying that trauma and abuse don't exist or that they don't matter?
No, not at all. The trauma absolutely exists, but Adler argues that the past does not determine your present.
Okay.
It's not the deciding factor. The important thing is how you use that trauma or any life experience to achieve a goal you have right now. If you are unhappy, it's because you have judged that unhappiness to be somehow beneficial to you.
Let's break that down. The sources bring up the example of a friend who's a shut-in.
Right.
The common story we tell is that they can't go outside because of past anxiety or some kind of abuse.
But the Adlerian philosopher says no, the shut-in is actually creating anxiety and fear as a tool to achieve the goal of not going out.
Why? What's the benefit there?
Well, maybe they gain special attention from their worried parents. Or a protective status. They aren't being held back by the past. They are actively using their feelings of fear as a reason to maintain a beneficial situation.
That reframing it's dizzying. And it applies to emotions we think are totally impulsive, like anger.
Yes, anger is a great example.
Say I spill coffee and I just explode at the waiter. I would say my anger was just this, uncontrollable outburst.
Adler would say no. You fabricated that anger instantly because it served a goal.
Which of
Power. To overpower the waiter and assert your opinion without the hassle of calmly explaining yourself. Anger becomes a weapon in a power struggle.
The proof of this is so brilliant. The mother who's yelling at her daughter, just screaming. The phone rings, she sees it's the school principal, and her voice instantly becomes polite, composed, friendly.
And then she hangs up and immediately starts yelling again.
And that shift proves it. First, anger is not uncontrollable. It's a tool you can turn on and off.
And second, if you can only get your point across by yelling, you're choosing anger as the lazy way out. And that really is what Adler's whole way of thinking is built on. It's a psychology of use, not a psychology of possession.
What matters isn't what you were born with, but what use you make of it.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've shifted from past to present, from cause to goal. Now we have to shift from the self to the social. Because Adler's core maxim is that all problems are interpersonal relationship problems.
This is so critical. If you were totally alone in the universe, concepts like worth or inferiority, they wouldn't even exist.
They only have meaning when you're measuring yourself against other people.
Right. And Adler actually coined the term feeling of inferiority, but he draws a line between two very different types.
So there's a healthy feeling of inferiority, which sounds strange, but it's actually a launch pad for growth.
Yes. That healthy striving comes from comparing yourself to your own ideal self. You see the gap between who you are and who you want to be, and that motivates you to improve.
But then it can turn toxic, becomes the inferiority complex. And that's when you use the feeling as an excuse.
Precisely. You use it as a shield. Oh, I'm not well educated, so I can't try for that promotion, or I'm not good looking, so I can't risk asking anyone out.
It's an easy way out. You choose to give up beforehand, so you don't have to try and maybe fail.
And the inverse of that, the superiority complex, is often just a deep inferiority that's hiding in plain sight.
The person who's always boasting or name-dropping?
Absolutely. The chronic boaster is only doing that because they feel profoundly inferior inside. If you truly felt superior, you wouldn't need to tell everyone.
And what drives all of this competing is the idea that life itself is a competition.
Right. And if you see relationships as a competition, you will inevitably see other people as enemies. The world is full of enemies, so inferiority is guaranteed, and even if you win, you can't find peace.
But Adler says we're all just moving across a flat plane. The goal is to move forward past who you were yesterday, not to be the person next to you.
And this cuts right through that self-consciousness we all feel. You know, you walk into a room obsessing about your hair,
And you think everyone is staring.
and Adler's thought is just, you're the only one who's worried about your appearance. Most people are too busy worrying about their own appearance to notice you.
So viewing the world as this judgmental crowd, that's a choice we make, stemming from this belief that life is a competition.
Exactly.
So if all our problems are interpersonal and we need to move past competition, the path to freedom lies in setting boundaries. And this brings us to the separation of tasks.
This is the critical step. We're also driven by this desire for recognition, wanting praise from our parents or boss, but seeking that recognition is a kind of slavery.
Because it forces you to live according to other people's expectations. You're not free.
You're not. And it's so hard to implement, especially with family. How do you just stop caring what your parents think of your career?
So how do you do it? How do you separate the tasks?
The test is simple. You ask, who ultimately is going to receive the result brought about by the choice that is made?
Okay, let's use the parent-child example. A parent forcing their kid to study. Whose task is studying?
It's the child's task. The child is the one who gets the results, the grades, the knowledge. The parent's job is not to intervene or command. That's just manipulation.
Their job is just to assist without intrusion. Like leading a horse to water, but letting the horse decide if it's going to drink.
Yes, and the second a parent says, I'm doing this for your own good, they're almost always fulfilling their own goals, maybe a desire for control or keeping up appearances. And the child senses that deception and rebels.
Once you separate tasks, you realize what freedom actually is.
Freedom is having the courage to be disliked by other people.
Wow.
If you're trapped by the fear of how others will judge you, you are living someone else's life. You have to be willing to move forward without feeling that someone might not like your choices.
And that's so empowering because you realize you always hold the cards to fix a relationship just by changing your attitude, not to manipulate them, but for your own freedom.
So if separating tasks is the gateway to freedom, what's the destination?
The destination
Yeah.
is what Adler calls community feeling.
It's this sense of others as comrades, of knowing you have a secure refuge within the whole community of humanity, past, present, and future.
It's a huge ideal, but it's grounded in 3 connected requirements. The first is self-acceptance.
And that doesn't mean telling yourself you're perfect. It means accepting yourself as you are. Adler calls it affirmative resignation. If you're only at 60% of your ideal, you say, okay, that's my starting point. You accept what you can't change and find courage to focus on what you can.
The second is confidence in others. And this is where we have to get rid of the idea of credit.
Right. Credit is trust based on conditions, like a bank wanting collateral. Confidence is unconditional. You have to be willing to accept the possibility of betrayal.
That's tough.
It is, but if you're always trying to protect yourself from being hurt, you can never build a deep relationship. You have to jump in.
And the third requirement is the whole point of it all. Contribution to others.
Yes. And this is not about self-sacrifice. This is the direct path to happiness. Adler defines happiness simply as the feeling of contribution.
So we only feel our own worth when we feel, subjectively, I am of use to someone.
I am beneficial to the community. And that subjective feeling is enough. You don't need public recognition for it to be real.
And if contribution is the goal, the method has to be the horizontal relationship.
Which means rejecting the whole hierarchy of praise and rebuke.
This is such a radical shift for parenting or managing people. Praise and rebuke are tools of manipulation. They imply a vertical relationship, like a master training a pet.
You're passing judgment from above. Good job, you met my standard. It's about control.
So instead of praising, we encourage. Instead of saying, good job, what do we say?
We use words of gratitude and respect from a place of equality. Thank you, that was a huge help. Or, I really respect the effort you put in.
Because that affirms their worth without passing judgment. It validates their being.
And that worth applies even to those who aren't doing anything, like a baby or an invalid. Their value is in their being. They support the community just by existing. You are of use to others simply by being here.
That clarity really helps explain why people get trapped in trying to be special, that pursuit of easy superiority.
We see it everywhere. You either try to be special by being especially good, the overachiever, or if that fails, by being especially bad, delinquency, problem behavior.
The goal is always the same, though. Attract attention and escape from being normal.
But the antidote is the courage to be normal. We're taught to think normal means incapable or worthless. But Adler says accepting your ordinary self is the ultimate freedom.
And when you stop competing, you're free to live your life as a process, not a destination. Which brings us to his final beautiful metaphor, life as dancing.
We usually see life as a line, a kinetic line aimed at a mountain peak or a specific career. And if you don't reach that point, your whole life feels like a failure because most of it was just on the way.
But the energial life is different. It's movement where the process is the outcome, like dancing.
Right. There's no destination at the end of the dance. You just live each complete, fulfilled moment like a dance. As long as you are dancing earnestly in this moment, you are getting somewhere.
So the greatest life lie, the sources warn, is to not live here and now, to be always focusing on invented pasts and anxious futures.
Neither the past nor the future decides your life, only this exact moment. You have to choose right now to shine the spotlight on the present.
This has been a dense, really demanding roadmap. Rejecting the past as a cause, understanding unhappiness as a choice, separating tasks, finding the courage to be disliked, and anchoring your worth and contribution.
And since your lifestyle is a choice, you can change at any moment.
And if you get lost after trying to implement all this, the philosopher offers a simple guiding star for this free life.
I contribute to others.
That expansive, simple ideal is the compass. As long as you don't lose sight of that star, you won't lose your way. You can live free, dancing in earnest in the here and now, so the final choice really rests with you. Are you ready to accept this subjective world and commit to the courage to be happy right now?